Good morning. I am Amy Young, Secretary of the Board of Trustees here at Bunker Hill Community College. I am delighted to welcome you all here today on behalf of the college. President Pam Ettinger and Board Chair Marita Rivero send their gratitude and greetings to the governor from Chicago, where they're attending the trustee conference. Governor Patrick is no stranger to community colleges, and it is an honor to have been selected as host for this memorable event today. To share his address, Closing the Achievement Gap, Progress in Massachusetts Education. Bunker Hill is proud to carry out the governor's vision on community college education and is at the forefront nationally on community college reform and workforce development. Bunker Hill Community College has been invited to the White House for the third time as one of the 50 leader colleges on community college reform. This is a validation of the good work that is inspired by the governor's vision. I would like to thank Dr. Charles Desmond, Board Chair for Massachusetts Department of Higher Education, Dr. Matthew Malone, Secretary of Education, and Dr. Richard Freeland, Commissioner for Higher Education, who with the governor have reshaped the ecosystem of community colleges through better funding and firmer support. We hope that our great Commonwealth will sustain these efforts now and with the administration to come. I welcome to the podium Dr. Matthew Malone, Secretary of Education for our Commonwealth.
It's an honor and a privilege to be here in this hall today. This represents the core of our work. It's not a coincidence that we are at Bunker Hill Community College, the linchpin between all of our work in education, connecting early childhood, K-12, and higher ed. This place is on the move, and this is where the future happens. I hope you can welcome special guests that we have today from one of our sister schools, Madison Park Vocational High School, for the presentation of our colors. It's the Marine Corps Junior ROTC program at Madison Park. If you could join me for a Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all.
Hold Hold. Ready? Cut. Hold Hold. Left. Face. Forward. Mark.
I'd like to thank our cadets from the JROTC program and their instructor, Marine Corps Lieutenant Colonel Paul Hughes, who is also here today. Despite what some people have to say, there's a lot of good things that are happening at Madison Park. And Madison Park will be a turnaround success in a few short years. Now, you heard... Please have your seats. Now, you heard some echo voices as we did our Pledge of Allegiance. And we have another special group here that symbolizes the core of our work. And this is a special group from a school in Roxbury, Massachusetts, a school that was a failing school, and a school that implemented the tools that our governor, administration, the House, and the Senate gave us to focus on low-performing schools. Today, it's an honor and privilege to have some amazing first graders. And I say again, first graders. These kids have been in school for only 35 days. 35 days, and they are here today to share with us two special poems. Now, let me tell you something. There's people in the world that make the sun shine, and most of them are teachers. This first grade classroom has an amazing, amazing teacher. An amazing teacher that every day comes to school ready and prepared and build hopes and dreams and close gaps and open doors. And this teacher does that Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present you the first graders from the Orchard Garden School, Miss White Daughton's class. Don't tell us that it can't be done, because it can. Orchard Gardens went from level 4 to level 1. Next week, these kids will be doing quantum physics. You know, it is a box of crayons, and look at the room that we're in today. It represents this box of crayons. This represents all of our work and education, from early childhood to K-12, higher ed. We're fortunate today that we have our board chairs and our commissioners from early childhood, K-12, and higher ed. Can we please give them a round of applause? We lead the nation for so many reasons, but at the end of the day, it's because of our people. Our people work extremely hard, focused, diligent every single day to get results, and we are getting amazing results. Just look around this room. From veteran services, to charter schools, to innovation schools, to early childhood centers, our college campuses, to UMass. Education over the last 8 years in this Commonwealth has taken off. We have built a rocket ship, and we lead the nation. And we lead the nation in more than just student achievement. We lead the nation in the people that we build. We are a knowledge economy. We build core values, and every single day we build the future citizenry of this nation. Now, there's a group of people out there that sometimes never get thanked. Now, yesterday we were fortunate to celebrate the 375th anniversary of the Mather Elementary School in Dorchester, the first public elementary school to be paid for on the tax dollars in the nation. And a lot's changed in 375 years. But I tell you what hasn't changed. What hasn't changed at the end of the day, it's a teacher in a classroom making a difference in the life of children. Our educators in this Commonwealth are our heroes. Every single day, they run to work. They sacrifice. They give up their Sundays to plan. And we are so very fortunate that our teachers in this Commonwealth are the best in the nation. They're the best in the nation just because we have the best people. But they're also the best in the nation because we invest in their training. It's all connected. Early childhood, K-12, higher ed. We have a system. Now, that system didn't come by happenstance. That system came by strategy. And that strategy is clear investments in education, innovation, and infrastructure. Ladies and gentlemen, I am the Secretary of Education. My name is Matthew Malone. And I run to work every single day because I have the good fortune for working for a man who understands that all means all. And all means governing across the entire Commonwealth. It means governing not just geographically, which we do, but also demographically. And no one has done more to ensure that young ladies are engaged in STEM fields, to ensure that our veterans are served on our college campuses, to ensure that every single 3- and 4-year-old have high quality access to programming, to ensure that the students who need our most love, those in our gateway cities, have extra tools and resources to be successful, to ensure that we build pathways to prosperity through our higher ed system and the jobs in this economy. That person is our governor. That person is someone that I value. That person is somebody who every day for me models what it means to ensure that every child has access, hope, and opportunity, and a caring and supporting environment. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our governor, Deval L. Patrick.
Thank you very much. Wow. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Good morning. Good morning, everybody, and thank you, Secretary Malone, for that very generous introduction and for your passionate leadership of the Executive Office of Education. You and your whole team do an outstanding job. I also want to thank Amy Young, a trustee at Bunker Hill Community College, for her service and for your very warm welcome to campus this morning, and to acknowledge President Pam Edinger, who could not be here this morning because she's in my hometown, my old hometown, but whose leadership we very much appreciate. I think you all know and share my view that education is the single most important work we have before us, not just as a government, but as a citizenry. When I listen to Mrs. White Dotton's children strut their stuff, most of them missing teeth, with such pride and confidence, I always well up. As a parent, I hear optimism and energy, eagerness and hope. As a governor, I hear a call to action. Every one of us has a stake in getting them and every child where they want to go. Meeting their educational needs is the quintessential generational responsibility. Education unlocks doors, opens opportunities, enables individuals, lifts whole families. It's my story and yours. Increasingly, it's the story of the global economy. The world is in the midst of a knowledge explosion, from the life sciences and medicine to clean tech to the digital technologies that are reorienting our daily lives to manufacturing and management. Our own economic future is dependent on high-quality education and intellectual preparedness. We in Massachusetts have a natural edge with so many colleges and universities so close at hand and a better educated workforce than other states. And yet recent studies suggest that if we don't keep our shoulder to the education wheel, if we don't keep innovating in the field of education itself, our future prospects will dim. You all know that. That's why we emphasize education, innovation, and infrastructure as a strategy for growth, and why so many of you have leaned forward in our work, investing so much time, ideas, and money to strengthen the schools and expand educational opportunities. I hope you also know that it's working. Today, as the Secretary said, we rank #1 in the nation in student achievement, with the highest proficiency rates in the country in 4th grade reading and 8th grade math. Our 8th graders rank in the top 5 in the world in math and science on the TIMSS study. Our 15-year-olds rank in the top 10 in the world in reading, science, and mathematics on PISA, and we earn top honors in the national Race to the Top competition. Our high school students are outscoring their peers nationally on the SATs, and more Massachusetts students are taking the SAT than ever before. Graduation rates are at all-time highs, and dropout rates are at all-time lows. And every year for 8 years, we have funded the public schools at record levels. Support for primary and secondary education through the Chapter 70 formula is up 26% since I took office, a commitment we and the legislature kept with the help of the President's stimulus bill through the worst economic downturn since the Depression. With the tools made available through the Achievement Gap Act, we are making demonstrable progress in closing persistent achievement gaps. While we have seen a solid 16-point increase in proficiency in English language arts among white students in the last 8 years, we've seen a 24% increase for African American students and a 26% increase for Hispanic students. The same positive trend is happening in math, an impressive 20-point gain for white students, but an even more impressive 28-point gain for African American students and 24-point increase for Hispanic students. Mind you, this is all while standards were being raised across the board for all students in the Commonwealth. How is this happening? Well, I think it's because the Achievement Gap Act has introduced an unprecedented level of innovation into our schools. So-called innovation schools have given districts new, high-impact flexibilities and autonomies. There are 54 of these schools across the Commonwealth today, and I hope more to come. We doubled the charter school cap, and some of the best charters have taken direct aim at the hard-to-reach kids, including some of the charter school applications pending before the board right now. The turnaround work is tough, slow, and sometimes controversial, but the results are inspiring. When we started in 2010, 34 schools were identified as level 4 or underperforming. Last year, 13 of those schools exited level 4 status. This year, 4 more shed the designation. The work in the Lawrence Public Schools, for example, has been awesome. Dual enrollment opportunities like the RoxMat partnership between Madison Park and Roxbury Community College, and more opportunities for experiential learning, for vocational and technical learning, and even specialty schools are offering more paths to achievement. And we are expanding our inclusive concurrent enrollment program to 12 different public colleges and universities so that more students with intellectual disabilities can access their dream of stepping foot on a college campus. We are also working to assure our students are safer in schools. And to that end, we'll distribute nearly $200,000 in grants to local school districts to help strengthen their school safety and security plans. Meanwhile, with the legislature's help, we've moved 3,000 poor children off the wait list last year and into high-quality early education. Another 2,500 will come off the wait list this year. And if you make the wise choice for governor in the next couple of weeks, every child in the Commonwealth will have access to and the lifetime impact of early education opportunities. We have invested at the same time to ensure the quality of our early education programs as well through a system known as QRIS that will rate and give feedback to providers to enable constant improvement. And then there's higher ed. For the second straight fiscal year, support for public universities and community colleges is significantly increased in an effort to control tuition and fee hikes and make higher education more affordable. We have underway the largest building program on our public campuses in decades, with projects completed or under construction on every campus. Because if we want to attract, retain, and encourage the best students and faculty, shabby is not okay. Our advances in teaching and learning through the Vision Project are drawing national notice too. Massachusetts is leading 8 other states in the first ever effort to measure what college students actually know and can do upon graduation so that we can improve instruction and show how well prepared Massachusetts college students are for the world of work. And our community colleges serve more like a system, coordinating their course and credit offering and working with the business community in the regions they serve to help meet workforce needs. These are just a few of the milestones that we have all marked together. They make me proud, and I hope they make you proud too. I want you all to know how grateful I am for all you have done to move the work so far forward in these last 8 years. First and foremost, thanks to the teachers for bringing both the professionalism and the special magic you do to your classrooms, and for being willing and even eager, so much more often than not, to try something new to reach the kids that we've left behind. Thanks to the principals and superintendents for seeking new authorities within your schools and districts and making the most responsible use of those tools to build stronger teams. Thanks to Commissioner Weber, Commissioner Chester, where are you? There he is. Commissioner Chester, Commissioner Freeland, whose service we'll lose soon at the end of this school year. Their respective board chairs, Jay Gonzalez, Margaret McKenna, and Charlie Desmond, and all of the board members and staff for your dedication to the cause, your thoughtfulness, your flexibility, and your extraordinary commitment of time and effort. Thanks to the legislators, especially the committee chairs, who have worked so hard to master the theories at large in teaching and learning and to build relationships with both theorists and practitioners. Thanks to the business leaders for keeping policymakers and the field focused on meeting the workforce needs of a competitive economy. Thanks to the many advocates for charter schools, for teachers' unions, for children with disabilities, for early education, for STEM skills, and special thanks to the parents for bringing your ideas and data to bear on the many questions of how to make schools and the education experience better. And finally, thank you to the City Year Corps members, some of whom are here today, and volunteers of every type and kind for the vital mentorship you bring and for educating young people and old alike about the lasting value of service itself. Each and every one of you has had a part in delivering these results and many more. More than you may realize, it is this working together, the collaboration itself, which has delivered the highest impact. And as I take my leave of this podium and of this job, I ask you going forward to be especially mindful of that. Two of the most striking and powerful forces in education policy as I experience it are nostalgia, and what I would call the I know better syndrome. The first has to do with some wistful notion that all would be well if we just returned to the good old days. The second has to do with the overwhelming certainty that some have that their idea is the golden key to righting whatever is wrong with public education. I'm here to tell you neither of those is helpful. For one thing, times have changed, and we need schools to address needs that whole communities used to address. needs related to home life and nutrition and safety, and a different kind of workforce and life preparedness. New circumstances demand new institutions, new ways of thinking about what a classroom is or how teaching and learning happen. The other syndrome is problematic for two reasons. In a reality as complex as educating young people, no one answer is sufficient because no one challenge is definitive, and every child is different. Knowing that every child can learn and that every child in this competitive environment must, we need a range of solutions to meet children's needs and circumstances. The other problem, I think, with knowing better is that we stop being open to others' good ideas, and everybody stops listening. So the charter advocates can't hear the teachers' unions' concerns about the funding formula and the creaming of talent, and the unions can't hear the charter advocates' concerns about rigidity and accountability. Teachers can't hear business concerns about workforce preparedness, and business leaders can't hear teachers' concerns about corporatizing public education. University leaders can't hear students' concerns about affordability, and students and some policymakers can't hear university leaders' concerns about the real and unmet costs of the education they provide. And yet every perspective is valuable and contributes to refining the work and the thinking. One of the great untold stories in our success is that we have made nation-leading progress without the excessive rancor and divisiveness that has characterized many other states. There are always efforts to draw the schools into politics. But the goal in politics these days is more often to win than to be right. Collaboration is the secret of our success and the envy, actually, of the nation. Please hold fast to that. Each of you has helped shape policy and initiative, certainly teaching me how to make practical progress, sharpening the vision, and strengthening the work. Take stock of what you have produced and the fact that collaboration is the single most important reason it has been produced. And above all, keep the students central to the work. Let every debate about education begin and end with one simple question: what is best for our students? For nearly 8 years, we have used every tool available to us, and some newly created ones, toward the betterment of educational outcomes, not for bragging rights, but for the enlightenment and enrichment of our students and our Commonwealth. We all know the work that remains. Too many of our third grade students are not reading at the level we expect them to. Attempting to address this problem in first or second grade is too late. We need quality early education for every child in every corner of the Commonwealth. We need to update the funding formula for district and charter schools and fund the schools adequately so that they meet the skills and character needs of our young people. That means STEM fields, of course, but also art, music, exercise, experiential learning, all the ways we cultivate well-rounded and well-prepared talent that we know resides in every community in our Commonwealth. We need to make college more affordable, more accessible, and more relevant for the students of our state. We need to prepare and inspire more new teachers, and veteran teachers too, for that matter. We need to give them the support and the latitude they need to be the professionals we expect them to be, and we need to hold them accountable fairly. And we need first world facilities on every public school and college campus in the Commonwealth. We can do this. We just have to make the choice in favor of our long-term interests. We can choose to invest in our children, to make education investments that have proven time and again to work, or to take informed risks on innovations that may dramatically move the needle, or we can choose short-term gimmicks, half-hearted slogans, and divisive politics. Just remember that while you are choosing, kids are waiting. I want to close with a favorite story of mine that I first heard the great Marion Wright Edelman tell many years ago. It's about a fifth grade school teacher named Jean Thompson and a boy named Teddy Stollard. She told the story this way. She said, on the first day of school, Jean Thompson told her students, "Boys and girls, I love you all the same. But we know," she said, "that teachers sometimes lie. Little Telly Stollard was a boy Gene Thompson did not like. He slouched in his chair, he didn't pay attention, he was often unkempt, and he smelled. He was a thoroughly unattractive boy, and she didn't like him. But teachers have records, and Gene Thompson had Teddy's record. In first grade, his record read, "Teddy's a good boy, shows promise in his work and attitude, but has a poor home situation." Second grade, "Teddy's a good boy. He does what he's told, but he's too serious. His mother is terminally ill." Third grade, "Teddy is falling behind in his work and needs help. His mother died this year. His father shows no interest." Fourth grade, "Teddy is in deep waters. He is in need of psychiatric help. He is totally withdrawn." Christmas came, and the boys and girls all brought the teacher a present and put them on Gene Thompson's desk. All were nicely wrapped, all except Teddy's, whose was wrapped in brown paper and held together with Scotch tape. And on his present, he had scribbled in crayon, "For Miss Thompson, from Teddy." She tore open the brown paper bag and found a rhinestone bracelet with most of the stones missing and a bottle of cheap perfume, mostly empty. When the other boys and girls began to giggle, she had enough sense to put some of the perfume on her wrist and put on the bracelet, hold up her wrist to the other children and say, "Doesn't it smell lovely? Isn't the bracelet pretty?" And taking their cue from the teacher, all the students agreed. At the end of the day, when all the children had left, Teddy lingered, came over to Gene Thompson and said, "Miss Thompson, all day long you smelled like my mother. And her bracelet, that's her bracelet. It looks real nice on you too. I'm really glad you liked my presents." And when he left, Gene Thompson got down on her knees and buried her head in the chair and begged God to forgive her. The next day, when the children came, she was a different teacher. She was a teacher with a heart, and she cared for all the children, but especially those who needed help, especially Teddy. She tutored him and paid attention to him, put herself out for him. And by the end of the year, he had caught up with a lot of the kids and was even ahead of some. Several years later, Gene Thompson got this note. "Dear Miss Thompson, I'm graduating from high school and I wanted you to be the first to know. Love, Teddy." 4 years after that, she got another note. "Dear Miss Thompson, I wanted you to know the university was not easy, but I liked it. Love, Teddy." 4 years later, there was still another note. It read, "Dear Miss Thompson, as of today, I am Theodore J. Stollard, MD. How about that? Wanted you to be the first to know. I'm going to be married in July. I want you to come and sit where my mother would have sat, because you're the only family I have. Dad died last year." And she went and she sat where his mother would have sat because she deserved to be there. She had become a decent and loving human being. Like I said, we and the constituents we represent have choices to make. If you keep in mind that there are thousands of Teddy Stollards all across the Commonwealth, I'm confident you will choose wisely. Thank you all. God bless you.
Teddy started. 3 letters from Teddy. That's what it's all about. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our program today. Keep in mind, as the governor said, the Teddys of the world, and there are thousands of them. Sometimes we forget we're in the human business. We don't give up on kids. We don't give up on kids. Thank you, Governor.